Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I quickly want to say that this meeting is being recorded, so I hope I have everyone's consent to do that. If you have your video on, you may be in the recording. If you do not want to be in the recording, you can turn your video off, and then you won't show up unless you maybe ask a question or something. But I just want everyone to know that this session is being recorded. It is common practice to let everyone know that that's happening. So in a Zoom session at least. Okay, so let's go ahead and share the screen. Ignore my my calendar there. Okay, can everyone see the screen? It's looking okay. Perfect. All right. Well, first things first. Hello, welcome to Sask Polytech. Even if you're not physically here yet, welcome anyway. I think what the COVID-19 everything taught us is that we can do a lot online that we can do in person, but of course in person is where we're really thriving right now. But because we've been utilizing so much virtual space, I think it makes sense to have this session be online as well, especially since a lot of you aren't here yet. So thank you all for being proactive and coming to this. I think it'll make things a lot easier once you actually get here. Plus you'll just be more familiarized with different departments. So I think it's a win-win that we're all here. So thank you all. Okay. So first of all, I should probably introduce myself. My name is Kelsey Murrow. I am a student engagement coordinator. You might hear the term student life and student engagement interchangeably. It's the same thing. It's the same department. We just, rebranded. But I represent the South campuses. So that would be the Regina campus and the Moose Jaw campus. So if any of you are at either of those locations, you'll definitely see me. You'll probably hear me because I'm very loud. And again, my voice isn't usually this raspy, but it's still pretty distinctive. A lot of students always find me later in person and go, hey, you did the virtual orientation sessions because I recognized your voice. So that's something I get a lot. I also have Amanda Powers in here. She's my cohort in the South for student engagement. And she is lovely. She's mainly at the Regina campus, but you will see her around at Moose Jaw sometimes as well if you are there. Our Saskatoon and Prince Albert representatives are not in this meeting, but if you are in either of those campuses, you will be seeing Lisa DeVries, Leanne Barrington, and our new addition, Nadine Craig. So don't worry if you don't remember those names. You'll see them around, I guarantee it. Okay? All right, and I'll introduce everyone else as we get to them, everyone else in different departments representing. So, okay, so this is our Getting Settled and Connected Q&A. It's basically it's the basics of, before you actually get here. So what we did with this series is try to kind of meet students where they're at. So this session is the first one, right? Because before we do anything, we need to get settled and connected here. We need to connect with our different services. We need to make sure we have a place to live. We kind of know what to do in terms of childcare, all the things we need to worry about before academics, right? So that is why we're here, and this is why you're all here. So what we'll start with, I think I pretty much touched on most of it here, but it's just some Zoom meeting etiquette, making sure you're using that chat function as much as you can. Try not to, just talk other than when I said, please tell me where you're from and everything. But aside from that, try not to have conversations in there. We do want to keep it for actual questions being asked. So just, with great power comes great responsibility. So please be responsible in that chat, okay? Make sure you're never recording a meeting without telling people, right? So we did that earlier. This meeting is being recorded as we speak. So I have given you that verbal warning. This probably won't be an issue with how many people we have in the chat or in the video or the presentation. I can't talk today. It's early here. But sometimes if there's a lot of people and, my video or something is getting a little bit like, the bandwidth is poor, sometimes it helps for people to turn off their videos, but I don't think that's going to be an issue here. So honestly, that's pretty much it with the etiquette here. Just common sense. Please don't turn off your mute and make a bunch of noise. I think you all get it, okay? So let's get on to our land acknowledgement. So I'm going to read this land acknowledgement first, and then I will explain what this is, because I'm sure this is maybe not super familiar to a fair amount of you. So first of all, we would like to acknowledge that Sask Polytech is situated on Treaty 4 and Treaty 6 territories and the ancestral lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dene, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota peoples, and the traditional homeland of the Métis. So why do we do a land acknowledgement? That link is something that that can be sent in the chat if you don't mind, Amanda. That link at the bottom if you want to read more, but I'll give a quick little synopsis. So what a land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes the unique and enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples of what is now called Canada and this land. It's really important to understand that there's a lot of history here that brought us to reside on this land. We all have a role to play in this, in colonialism, post-colonialism. There's a reason why we're all here, and we need to understand why that is. So what land acknowledgements really do is they don't exist in a past tense. All of this is very current. Everyone plays a part in this ongoing system of colonialism. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I really recommend reading more about this. So it is just something that we do usually before most presentations, just to acknowledge that, we play here, we work here, we live here for a reason, right? So, I got onto my other one. Okay. So I want to quickly do a little introduction to everyone on today's panel. You can just wave and then we'll obviously get to the nitty gritty soon, but I'm here with student engagement, as is Amanda, but I will be answering the questions vocally here. From accounts receivable, we have Kristen Kirchhoff. Hello, nice wave. From the SAS Polytech Students Association, we have Louis Ramos. And then from international, we have Miss Emily Van Heerden. Yes, hello. You'll get to hear their lovely voices soon here, but first you have to deal with mine a little bit longer. So, okay, so here's some frequently asked questions that I can do my best to answer. I'm going to answer these questions, and then if there are other ones that you want to ask, you can again do that vocally, turn off your mic or turn off your mute, or you can type it in the chat and we can answer it to the best of our ability, okay? So question number one, how do I find housing in my city or on campus? So I assume I get a lot of emails about this obviously ahead of time, which makes sense. I think that's something we want to figure out before we get here. So a lot of these answers you're actually going to find in one spot. So what I'm going to do here, and please ignore my share screen there. Let's share the other one here. The beauty of 3 screens. So what we're going to do is go to the SAS Polytech website here. This is just saspolytech.ca. Everyone can see my screen, right? Good. Okay, perfect. Luckily, I can look to the screen to my left because Amanda's in the same room as me. So everything that you need to know basically for settlement here is under the student life button. So student life, when in doubt, go to student life. So let's start housing, okay? So over here on getting started or get started, you're gonna find housing. So we go ahead and click that. This is where you can find, it's basically a repository of different housing resources, depending on what city you're going to be in. So for example, if you are in Moose Jaw, we click Moose Jaw. Okay, there's all this different housing that you can find. It's more like, this isn't anything specific to Moose Jaw because unfortunately, it's not like a lot of other universities where there's a bunch of on-campus housing. The only campus that has actual on-campus housing is Prince Albert. Aside from that, it is going to be off-campus housing that you will need to find. So there's plenty of resources here. And Louis can maybe talk about this a little bit more at length, but the SPSA also has a housing registry. I do understand that post-COVID, it's been a little bit trickier to get a lot of different listings on there. But again, I can let Louis speak to that a little bit later. So these are things you can check out. And again, if you're in Prince Albert, there is on-campus housing and there's information here, right? So that is where you can go for this landing page here. And I also want to quickly plug that tomorrow, there's also 2 different sessions that is specifically on this website. So if you feel like I didn't really go into as much as you were hoping I would, please come to those sessions tomorrow, or one. There's 2 sessions, but you only need to come to one. So we can always talk more about it. And you can also email me anytime at studentengagement@saspolytech.ca, which we will let you know, I'll give you all that information after this, okay? So there's housing. And then here, we're just gonna answer some questions that I already know are already on there. There's also a question about childcare, okay? So every single campus has childcare options with the exception of Moose Jaw. Okay, so with Moose Jaw, you might want to find, daycare or something off campus. That's the only option there. But if you're not in Moose Jaw, there is actual on-campus childcare available at all different campuses. That would be Saskatoon, Moose Jaw, Saskatoon, Regina, Prince Albert. So here's information about childcare here for each campus. Okay. And then another thing that I know a lot of people ask about is lockers. So look at that. That's on Get Started here. The lockers, this is something that you book through your MySAS Polytech, which again, if you haven't checked that before, you will know SAS Polytech, MySAS Polytech. It is basically, it's where everything is that you need, like everything that's behind the scenes for you as a student is on MySAS Polytech. You can rent your lockers through there. There is an option. There's directions here, payment methods, and so on. So if you can really take any. Okay, there we go. So really, if anything can be taken away here, when in doubt, go to the Student Life tab. Okay, so now, now let's go back to here. Put it into the big version here. Sorry, bear with me. Okay. So what can you expect on your first day of classes? I know this is sort of a loaded question, so just we'll kind of do the basics here. So on the first day of classes, what will be happening is there'll actually be Ask Me booths right when you enter your campus, okay? So if you're not sure where you're going, don't worry. There are people there who will guide you no matter what. So we will have a list of where everyone goes on their first day, depending on what program they're in. Ideally, you will be hearing from your program head by then on your SAS Polytech email, but if you haven't, we will let you know where to go. You will know what to do. So generally on the first day of classes, once again, depending on program, there's not usually a lot you have to do aside from just, you might get a book list or anything else. Usually it's just, going over the syllabus, what's going to be expected of you in the program. So generally speaking, be prepared, but don't feel like, you're not going to be writing an exam that day, right? So just go in with an open mind, and you're probably going to be, touring around the campus. Again, that's usually what ends up happening depending on the program. But if you ever have any questions or you're feeling a little bit of apprehension about it, you can always email us and we can kind of walk you through it too. Okay. So, and of course, I'm not even going in any order here. So we're going to end actually with what orientation will be like. I know that term orientation, you've probably heard a lot. This is sort of the virtual orientation, but sort of our big orientation with a capital O would be our welcome week. So our winter welcome week, because obviously it'll be in winter this time, we do one in fall and then we'll do one in winter. So in January, that first week that you are here, every single campus will have different activities going on. So for example, in Moose Jaw, on the Monday, on the Tuesday, we'll just have the Ask Me booths, and we'll have, hot chocolate and coffee and stuff. So that's always nice. And it's free, of course, we're not going to make you pay for it. And then on the Wednesday, we'll have a campus and community services fair. So, and again, most of these things will be happening on all campuses. So if you're not Moose Jaw specific, don't worry, you'll be able to do all of this. So that fair basically just has a bunch of different departments that we work with, as well as some external community resources that are just there to, just kind of help you get involved in the community, understand what's going on around campus, kind of just putting faces to names and such. So I really recommend going to that. And then Thursday, of course, is kind of our big, what we call Student Connect Festival. So generally they're inflatables, there'll be some henna art, there'll be some, entertainment, there'll be a magic show at Moose Jaw. I have to plug that. So it'll be really, really fun. And we really recommend getting involved, even just showing up, because it's not even just about meeting people, but just, there are faces that you will see around. It's not just about meeting people, but getting acquainted with the space and with your services as well, because there's lots of volunteers from different departments that, will be involved. So just please don't be a stranger. I know it can be a lot, but if you do feel like you need to do something a little bit more low key, all of the libraries will have sort of a chill zone where there'll be puzzles, games, things like that. So there will be a lot going on for all sorts of people. Okay. That is basically it from student engagement. Again, if you want more specific information, I would come to the sessions tomorrow. But so far, do we have any questions about any of that I can at least try and answer quickly? Oh, yes. And yes. And Emily with International will let you know once we get to her as well. But I do want you to know if you have any international specific questions about settlement, Emily can go over that, but there also is going to be an in-person international orientation during that first week of classes. You will get information about that. There is also actually a Q&A session on Friday, this coming Friday, that is specifically about international as well. So if you have any other questions that are specific to that, maybe wait until then and you'll get it answered a little bit more clearly than I can do here. And do any actual classes take place during the first week in January? Yes, your classes will begin. I don't know, again, it depends on the program. Like it depends on how, I don't know how far into actual like work you'll be doing, but you will be having classes. But everyone knows, all of your program heads know about these events going on. Plus these events generally take place during the lunch hour anyway, so you will be able to make them. Okay. And where and whom do you contact on the first day of class? So, oh, did you answer that? Never mind. There's some things getting answered here. We love it. And Amanda sent some links. Thank you so much. Okay. Do we have anything else we want to ask in the chat before we move on? Before my poor voice just falls apart. Hopefully throughout the week it comes back. Okay, an online augmented class. Okay, so some programs still have classes online. I can't really speak to the specifics of that, but if you do ever have questions about that, I always recommend emailing your program head. But there is an online platform that we use for online classes called Brightspace. And even for in-person classes, there are a lot of complementary or supplementary materials on Brightspace. That is through your MySAS Polytech. It's also called, My Courses or D2L. There's a lot of different names, but Brightspace is the most commonly used term. That is what it means if something's online augmented. It means that there's aspects of it that are through Brightspace. Do we have to go before January 3rd in the building to process papers or something? I am not sure about that. If you are international, I will let Emily speak to that once we get to her, because I am unsure. I don't want to give you the wrong answer for that. And that'll be January 3rd, right? That's the Tuesday. January 3rd is the first day. And again, it does depend on your program. Some programs might not start on that day, but most of them do. Okay. All right. And if you're enrolled for classes, but you don't know your class schedule, you can find that on your MySAS Polytech. Okay. That's something I can maybe show you after, or I can at least email you. Because it's quite easy to find once you do. But I think for now, we will stop there, just because I know we have a lot to go over. And once again, there's more. If you need more information, a little bit, if you want me to go into a little bit more detail, I recommend coming to the session tomorrow. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move on here. Oh, yes. And I have to show you the tab, that student life tab. When in doubt, student life tab. Also, I didn't talk about this. Please go to the student orientation button. I can show you more of that later, but that is where all information about every aspect of orientation, whether that's all the in-person stuff or more information about these virtual sessions, all of that is under student orientation, as well as the welcome week activities. Oh yeah, it looks like this. Disregard this campus tours. We aren't doing any in-person like formal campus tours for the winter, but of course, it's a little bit tricky. If it's during the holidays, I can't promise who's around, but if you are here and you're hoping to get some sort of tour or anything before your first day of classes, just email student engagement. Okay. All right. So now I will hand the mic off to Miss Kristen, and I will be quiet and save my voice.
Thanks, Kelsey. Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen. So I work in accounts receivable, which do you kind of glaze over accounting. But basically, I'm the lady who makes sure people pay their tuition. So I'm talking to you now, so hopefully you don't have to hear from me in a less pleasant way in the future. So our first question, finding what you owe and deadline to pay and how do you pay. So this is all on saspolytech.ca and on my SAS Polytech. So we have a feature now that you can pay by semester. So even though your full year tuition is assessed, you get to pay by semester. And so if you're starting in January, you'll probably only have one semester on there, maybe two, but you get to pay by semester. And there's a handy guide on our website under Become a Student and then Tuition and Fees. And it's called Tuition by Program. That's the name of the menu you want to look at, Tuition by Program. And you can choose your program, your campus, your intake, and it'll give you very easy to follow. This is how much you pay, and this is the day you pay. Keep in mind, if you are brand new to SAS Polytech as an international student, if you've never taken any courses with us before, and this is your first year, you have to pay whatever is on my SAS Polytech. You do not have the option to pay by semester until your second year of studies. So just keep that in mind. Some people get confused by that. Now, if you have made some payments, you might, the tuition by program menu might not quite line up if you've already made some payments. So you would have to go on My SAS Polytech, and from a student homepage, you can go to My Finances. And Kelsey's putting helpful links in the chat for everybody, so you can follow those. It's very clear where the My Finances are. It's a $ in green. And so if you're someone who's paying by semester, you just want to make sure you compare that tuition by program menu to what's on your My SAS Polytech. If you're a first year international, you want to get that balance to 0. All right. Now you can pay through My SAS Polytech with a credit card. It's not my favorite option to recommend because there is a convenience fee, and it's like over 2%. That's a lot of money when you're already paying plenty for tuition. So one of the options we recommend the most is online banking. So if you've ever paid any bills through online banking, you can add SAS Polytech as a bill payment payee. So don't e-transfer us. E-transfers are from person to person, not person to business. So it'd be a bill payment that you'd have to do. You'd add SAS Polytech, and when you're asked for an account number, you would put in your student ID number. And just keep in mind, if you use online banking, it takes 2 to 3 business days to show up on My SAS Polytech. And also, if you want to see, if I'm going over the options quickly here, but under Become a Student, Tuition Deposit and Payment, so there you can also see all of the payment options. So you can pay in person with a debit card or a check or a money order as well. But you cannot use a credit card in person for a full-time program. So please don't do that, and please don't try and call us. We can't take it over the phone either. It has to be through My SAS Polytech. And if you're paying with a debit card, you might want to call your financial institution and find out what your daily limit is. A lot of financial institutions set your daily limit rather low just to protect you from fraud. But you can call and tell them, I'm paying my tuition today. Can I get a one-time limit increase to pay my tuition? That's an option. Now, when the deadline to pay technically is the first day of your program usually. But do not worry, because we know you have a lot to do on the first day. So you usually have at least a 2-week grace period from the day you start. Okay, so keep that in mind. Don't panic. And I will go into that a little bit more still. Now, for student loans, that money typically will come directly to SAS Polytech if you qualified for student loan tuition funding. So if you know that you've qualified and you can go on this. So if you haven't been on the student loan portal yet and you've applied for a student loan, please check out the student loan portal. You can Google and find that if you don't know what that is yet. And you'll be able to see if your student loan is confirmed and where it's at. Because sometimes we have people who think they need to pay us and then student loans pay us, and then we've got your money and we have to try and get it back to you as quick as we can. And it's not always a quick process. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, student loans doesn't always cover all of your tuition. So you want to pay attention to what amount you qualified for, because if they didn't cover the full thing, then you're responsible for the rest. And what happens if you can't pay tuition on time? So again, we do give that grace period. And usually, so we have to go through the accounts. I go through them for Regina campus. I have my colleagues who go through them at each campus. We go through them one at a time to try and make sure we don't miss anything. So honestly, have until like the end of January before we're going to consider you completely late and put a hold on your account. So this is called a financial hold. That just means you owe money, and it will restrict access to grades, transcripts, completion documents, and you can't enroll in any further courses. And also there is a late fee of $100. That's a per semester fee. So if you're only late for one semester, it's one fee. We don't charge you interest. We don't charge you every week. It's just for that semester. Now, if for some reason, say your student loan, you're having complications, maybe you're trying to access educational funds through your bank, maybe there's some issues getting the funds from your home country, there's a variety of things that can happen, contact us and let us know. If you don't let us know that you're having issues making payment, we're just going to assume you don't care about paying on time. And we don't want to assume that of you if that's not the case. So I'll put my department email in the chat as well, so everyone can have it. It's regina.ar@saskpolytech.ca. And that is monitored every Monday to Friday from 8 to 4:30 by me and my colleagues. So we'll always do our best to try and get back to you within a day or two, so for anything that's payment related. And so some people have noticed that maybe their payment isn't showing up on My SAS Polytech yet. So that can depend on what academic year you're in and when you paid and how you paid, right? So online banking takes a little time. If you're paying for the next academic year, your payment will not show up until that academic year starts on My SAS Polytech. So if you're at all concerned that you've made a payment and you're pretty sure it should show up on My SAS Polytech, please send an email to that regina.ar, put your name, put your ID number, and let us know what your issue is, and we'll try and rectify that for you. And so someone asked about classes the first week. You definitely do a lot the first week. You get to have fun with the activities, but you definitely get full on into your course, because the deadline to withdraw with minimal penalty is the 5th scheduled day of your program. So it lets you know that you cover a lot. And the reason that the penalty goes up is because after the first week, you already covered enough that they can't fill your seat if you leave. So keep that in mind. So the minimal penalty, 5th scheduled day of the course, not attending is not withdrawing. So if something happens and you can't make it here, you have to let the appropriate people know. So if it's before you start, it's enrollment services, I believe. If it's after you start, you have to let your program head know, and there's paperwork to fill out. So if you think just not showing up works, nope, you gotta let people know and you gotta fill out paperwork so that it's done properly. So we don't want you to get charged because you simply didn't fill out paperwork. Okay. And then tax forms. So we all want to get as much money back as we can when it comes to our taxes. So by March 1st every year, we have the T2202s available and T4A. So the T2202 is your actual tuition credit. This is what if you'll take to the accountant to say, here's the credit I'm getting, and you get to carry those over, or if it's a situation where your parents are helping you out, they can also make use of that. So definitely want to do that. Make a note for yourself, because we don't send these out in the mail. You have to go on My SAS Polytech under My Finances, and it'll be very clear. It'll be a little tax box. T4As are for people who get scholarships from SAS Polytech. So if you get scholarship funding, you need to claim that. It's considered a form of income. So you want to make sure you don't get in trouble. You want to make sure you claim that. And just to note, for those of you starting in January, you're not going to have one this coming March because you started after the year, right? Lots of people start in September, so they'll have one. So you'll want to make a note for March of 2024. Seems far away, but it's not. And I think that is it for me. I think we've got and anything that's specific. If you have any specific questions here about account balances and such, please email me because I shouldn't really answer those in the chat. I need to look at your account to make sure, and I'll need an ID number. I don't want you putting ID numbers in the chat. I want you to email those to me, okay? And yeah, tax forms apply to international students as well, I believe. You'll want to still check that out. All right.
They do, because I, for some reason, didn't know that because I am international. I'm from the States. And when I was in undergrad, I was working and everything, even outside of that. And I just didn't know for some strange reason. And then I had to make up for it. So yes, you all get tax forms. Too long, didn't read.
And one thing I will mention, so some paid their full tuition. So because you start in January, something to note about most academic institutes, our year goes from July 1st to June 30th. So because you're starting in January, if you're taking a full program, you're going to go over 2 academic years, even though it's still your first year of study for you. So and we can't assess next academic year's charges until after July 1st of 2023. So I know someone said that they had a negative balance still, and that would be because we haven't been able to assess those. Enrollment Services assesses the charges, and they can't do that until the summertime. And probably don't expect it first thing in July. It probably will be in August. All right, I think that's all I can answer vaguely.
And that answers anything with outstanding payment, right? That's okay. Because we have a couple questions about that.
Yeah, and if you've emailed international and haven't gotten a reply, they are very busy. So please be patient. If it's been a bit, like it's been a couple weeks or something like that, maybe send them another email, or you can even send it to me. If it's something I can help you with, I will. And if not, I'll try and bug the international people I know to help you. All right, thank you for listening.
Oh, I think we got one more here. So for folks flying into Canada soon, what financial documents would we need to know at point of entry?
That's an international department question. I cannot answer that.
And we will get there, don't you worry. That's why we got Emily here. Perfect. Oh yeah, do you want to put the email again in the chat, Kristen? Perfect. All right. And yeah, please, if you're not already keeping an eye on that chat, I definitely recommend doing that because there's a lot of links there that, it's hard to just read them off, right? So please check that out. All right. Thank you so much, Kristen. Much appreciated. Oh, here, as an international student, is it necessary to print your tax forms? Yes.
Yes, very much so. And you'll want to do it. You'll want the tax credit and you don't want to get in trouble with the government.
Trust me, I panicked. All right, so I think we'll go ahead and move on. Thank you for your questions and thank you, Kristen, so much. Okay, so now we move on to Louie from the SPSA, or the Sask Polytech Student Association. We love a good acronym, so you'll see that acronym a lot, SPSA. Take the floor.
Hi, everybody. My name is Louis Ramos, and I'm from the SPSA, or the Saskatchewan Polytechnic Students Association. We are a third-party organization that represents all the students for Sask Polytech. As for the questions, what do my student fees cover? Your student fees pretty much covers student representation at any level. We also have different publications such as The Swipe, which is our monthly email blast kind of thing. We also have TV communications, And we have our app, which is the SPSA Connect. You can find out all of the information on there regarding events or any other services that we may have. As for services, we do provide the health and dental plan. We have the advocate that can help you for any issues that you may have with regards to academic and non-academic misconducts. We do have a prepaid legal consultation service, which is a free 30-minute consultation with a lawyer if you ever get in trouble with the law. We also provide food safety programs such as the food bank. We partnered with each city's food bank to provide hampers to students. We also have the Survivor, which is a lunch, breakfast, dinner package that you can access once a month. And then we, as Kelsey mentioned earlier, we also have the housing registry. We do have some individuals who post on our website that who are renting their own place. Some of them are much lower than regular rental places just because they are more so catered to SAS Polytech students, because some landowners want that. They just prefer like students who stay for like a couple months and then they're gone kind of thing. And we also have a tutor registry, which has a list of different paid tutors that you can access. And then Kristen mentioned earlier the T22s. We do have an income tax service every year. So if you do need to file your taxes, we can provide that service for you. However, there's limitations to that. It depends on what income bracket you are in. If you are in the low, there's like a certain bracket that we can only do because we are just volunteers. None of us are certified accountants, so there's that. What else do we have here? We do also have Commissioner of Oaths. So if you do need some things notarized, we can do that for you. What else? And then we also provide ATM services for students. And then let's do the other question. Am I covered under the health and dental plan? If you are in a program which are 12 weeks or more, you are automatically assessed the health and dental fee. And then you can access your health and dental for a whole year. So let's say your program started on January 3rd, you'll be able to access that until December 31st. What else is here? And then can you opt out of the health and dental plan? If you have comparable coverage, you can opt out of the health and dental plan. You only have 30 days from your program start date. So if you started in January 3rd, you have 30 days from that program, from your start date to opt out. After that, you won't be able to opt out anymore. That's what our insurance broker has stipulated. So unfortunately, we can't give any extensions on that one. Where can I purchase student discount bus pass? So we have on each city office, we do offer student discount bus passes. You just need to come to the office to purchase them. I believe Moose Jaw, PA, and Regina has student monthly passes, and Saskatoon has a semester pass. And then, yeah, you can just need to show us proof that you are a student, and we can provide you with the student pass. Where can I purchase used textbooks? Those are all available at the SPSA office. We do have a listing of the used textbooks online. So if you don't want to come by the office, you can just check the listing online. And then if you find something, you could either email us and let us know that you want that book, and then you can pick it up and pay for it at the office as well. Is there any other questions?
I did want to quickly add, if you heard anything about the advocate, like when you hear that term advocate or anything like that, that is something a little bit separate that will be covered in our afternoon session on academic success. So if you do have questions about advocacy, so basically if, for some, your instructor says that you plagiarize something and you're needing a little bit of help navigating that, that is what the SPSA advocate is for. So just as a heads up, if that's something that is interesting to you too, then that'll be in the later session. And then we have a question here, Louis, where can I activate my health plan?
Okay, so as I've said earlier, if you are in the 12 weeks or more program, you're automatically assessed, which means you would automatically be included in the health and dental plan. There is a blackout period, however, for the plan. So that's 6 to 8 weeks where our insurance broker inputs everybody's information into their system. So you won't be able to use a card just yet, but you are covered. So let's say you went to the doctor to get an eye exam, and you just have to pay for it first. Make sure to keep your receipts, and then you can get it reimbursed after that blackout period. So you can add your family into the plan. You would just need to pay the additional fee for the plan, and then you can add your family. You do need what do you call this? You do need to fill that form online. You can only do it within 30 days from your program start date as well.
I do want to quickly add, Emily just said this in the chat, but it should be noted that before you can do the health and dental, you need to apply for a Saskatchewan health card. So we can go into that later, but just as a heads up, that is something you need to do before any of this. So again, we can chat about that later. I just wanted to give the heads up. Thank you for saying that, Emily. I meant to add that too. Sorry, Louis.
Also, sorry. The SPSA does organize different kinds of events on campus, so you'll just have to watch out for them. I think we are doing some Welcome Week events as well, so I'm not quite sure what those are just yet, but we will be doing something for Welcome Week for sure.
And then someone just asked, how much is the family add-on fees for 2 dependents?
I don't have that information right now. If you want to, I believe you can email us. Just email us your questions, because I just don't have them off the top of my head right now. If you email us at that email, we'll be able to provide you the answers.
Perfect. Does anyone else have any other questions? The nice thing about this, by the way, is that this recording will be online. I think I mentioned that on YouTube. So if there's anything that maybe Louis went over that you may have missed, maybe you looked over your cat was meowing really loudly. That happens to me. If you missed any of this, you can watch it back. But all right.
Also, if you have any questions, you can email us at spsa@spsa.ca, or you can come by our offices. We're open Monday to Friday, 8 to 4 p.m. You're more than welcome to ask us any questions or give us a phone call.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Louis. And if there are other questions that speak now or forever hold your peace, just kidding. You'll have plenty of time to ask other questions, but I think we will move on for now. But thank you so much, Louis. I will say the SPSA, you can't miss them either. They're always in a good centralized area on each campus, and they're the best. So even if you just need to go, I don't know, when I just need a break and I need to go just for a walk, I go chat with SPSA. They're very, very great people. So and always willing to help. So don't hold back on saying hello and visiting them. Okay. All right. I think we're gonna move on now. Oh, and which YouTube channel? That's a good question. Is this going to be on all of this information? It's on our SAS, it's just SAS Polytech. I will send the link to that in a second here, but we have playlists. We actually have the Q&A sessions recorded from the fall as well on there, but different questions are asked for different sessions. That's why we're recording and posting all of them. There's also some fit and rec stuff on there too. There's a lot going on. So please check that out. Not to plug, gotta plug the social channels, All right, so let's move on here to Miss Emily with International.
All right. Hello, everybody. Okay, so let's just get rolling. I think there's going to be quite a few questions. So just a reminder, like Kelsey had mentioned, there's going to be another international specific Q&A on Friday. So if we don't cover everything that you need, pop in again on Friday. So I am Emily Van Heerden. I'm based out of the Regina campus. I am an international student advisor, or an ISA is what you'll see kind of sprinkled throughout the institution. And so I am here to support our current international students. There are a couple of us at each campus. So, don't be shy to come visit our offices. Okay, so first of all, what should I do once I land in my city? Well, for those of you starting in Prince Albert or Moose Jaw, you will not be landing in your city. So you will need to transport yourself to your city. So Moose Jaw is about 45 minutes away from the Regina Airport. And Prince Albert is about an hour and 45 minutes away from Saskatoon. So you will need to arrange transportation in order to get where you need to go. I do recommend navigating that ahead of time, making sure you have somewhere to stay if you're getting in late. So pre-booking your hotel rooms and things like that. So making sure that you have a warm place to stay, especially for landing in January. The other thing you're going to want to do is put on a winter coat. So I am hoping that most of you are landing with a coat. If you are not, I would honestly buy one in the airport. Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver airports do have shopping in their terminals. Honestly, the price point of them is not going to be that much higher or lower than anywhere else that you're going to buy a winter coat. So I do recommend getting one. We do have some tips and tricks on how to pick a winter coat coming to you in a pre-arrival email that's going to come out to you this week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We do chat a bit about winter, what it is, what to expect, and how to dress for it. I promise it can be enjoyable if you know how to dress for it. And my dad's age-old line that I always like to tell students is no one looks cool cold. So it's always good to dress in layers, dress a little bit warmer than you think you might need. Just because the sun is shining does not mean that it is hot outside. Okay, so prep for that. Don't be afraid of it though, okay? You will absolutely learn how to navigate it. But just for when you land, make sure that you have transportation and that you've planned that part ahead. We are at a point in a year where it's not safe to walk far distances, especially if you're not dressed for it. If you don't know how to dress for it, then no walking outside should be kind of your main rule. Okay, so I say that it sounds scary. It's not scary, but you do need to plan ahead. Okay. All right. How do I register for my classes? You already are. Okay. So Sask Polytech pre-registers and enrolls students. Thank you, Kelsey. It is gorgeous. You might even get to see the Northern Lights. They've been pretty wild already this winter. So that's a really gorgeous treat. So anyway, sorry, I digress. So how do I register my classes? You're already in them. You may be able to request an enrollment verification that actually will show the courses that you're enrolled in. You may be able to get that between now and Christmas. They do try to do it ahead of time, but you will for sure be able to access that document by January 3rd. As for your class schedule, Kelsey did mention that she's going to show that to you guys on My Sask Polytech, where you can actually see the schedule. Sometimes in some programs, you won't actually see or get that true schedule of like, what does my Monday look like? What does my Tuesday look like until your first day? As somebody who has a bit of an A-type personality and likes to plan ahead, I do understand that that can be a bit frustrating and intimidating. That you got to roll with it a little bit. You will at least know what classroom you're going to on your first day. and then your instructors will hand out that information. Okay, so try not to stress too much. You can look on your MySAS Polytech website, see if it's there, but if it's not, don't panic. It doesn't mean you're not enrolled. It doesn't mean that you don't have any courses to study. They just may not be preloaded on your site yet. Okay, number 3. This is the big one for everybody. Am I allowed to work in Canada? Yes and no. So you don't know if you will be truly permitted to work in Canada until you have arrived at the point of entry and you are speaking to a CBSA officer. Okay, they are dressed like police. They are a form of policing in Canada. They're not scary though. They're just a little intimidating sometimes. So answer their questions truthfully, give them information as they need it. Do not panic. You can ask them questions as well. They're usually very excited to actually greet international students. They get excited about it too and are happy to welcome newcomers to Canada. When they issue you your true study permit, so you're going to walk up to them. You're going to be a little scared. Again, don't be scared. You're going to give them your invitation letter from the IRCC. Okay. You probably have that electronically. You may want to print it out. They can also access it online. Okay. But so that's one of those documents you might want to have handy. They will then look through your file and then they will actually print out your true study permit. It's a shiny, kind of thicker piece of paper. Very, very important to protect it and hold on to it. That will say study permit right at the top. It'll have all your information. I do recommend taking a pause once you have that document, take a deep breath and quickly review it before you leave. Okay, I know again, it can be a really intimidating experience, but take your time and review the document because you want to make sure that there are not errors. Look at things like your name, your birthday, your expiration date. Okay, those are really, really important pieces of information. The expiration date, you want it to be past the day of when your program ends. So for example, if you know that your program ends next December, so December 2023, have it in your head that your study permit should end in March. Okay, if you do not see a March date, you want to say to them, hey, I don't think I got my additional 90 days. Okay, that's a common error that happened this year. Lots and lots of students had to amend or actually apply to extend, which is an additional cost on the student to extend those study permits. So it's a good time to catch any errors right when you're in the airport. Okay, I know you're tired. I know it's scary. Try to make a note of a couple things to look for. Okay, so the other thing you're going to look for on that study permit is an actual working condition. In the pre-arrival message, as well as an orientation, we will tell you word for word what that looks like. Basically, if you see a comment and it will say along the lines of is allowed to accept off-campus employment or is permitted to work in Canada as per, okay, it's 186V. But anyway, so it'll say exactly what that you are allowed to work. If you have that condition, that means once your classes start, so on January 3rd, you are then permitted to work in Canada. If you have arrived earlier, you are not permitted to start working until your classes have started. That is a very, very important piece of information, okay? So make sure that you do not start working until January 3rd. Who do I talk to at my study permit? You can talk to me. You can talk to my colleagues, Nympha, Faith, Yevgen. We also have somebody up in PA named Carlos. He just started and he is awesome and very knowledgeable. Saskatoon, we are hiring a few people. And so we have some change over there, but you can always book an appointment with us online. I will share that link with you guys right now in the chat. You can book an appointment with us ahead of now before your classes start, or once you are on campus and starting your classes. All right, how do I learn about Canadian culture? Well, This is going to be an ongoing process as an international student. There probably isn't a way for you to just in one shot learn everything you need to know. A good starting point is getting involved on campus, going to events, taking part in the My First Five, and also coming to our orientation. So we have a variety of orientation sessions offered at each campus. In Regina, we will have one on the first day of classes starting at 3:30. Moose Jaw is also hosting one on the 3rd. And I believe Prince Albert has one on the 3rd and possibly the 4th. I have to double check that. Again, that information is going to come out to you in your pre-arrival message that is coming out this week. Okay. The events will also be posted on our website as well as on our Facebook pages. So if you forget the date, you can send us an email as well. That is also an option, or you can reach out to us with the link that Kelsey has added. Okay, I had one other thing that I jotted down here, documents. Oh, health card. Okay, very, very important. Good job for choosing Saskatchewan. We are one of the last provinces that do still provide free health care to permanent residents or Canadian citizens. So you do need to apply for it though, and you also need to have applied for it to access the additional coverage provided to you by your SBSA. Sometimes students are a little bit concerned between the health card and the Saskatchewan provincial health coverage. The two are a little bit different. The health card, make sure that you can access emergency services, you can see a family doctor, you can access some prescriptions would be at a reduced cost. The other health coverage with the SBSA further reduces your costs for prescriptions and can also, cover all sorts of other things like dental is really, really important. So like Louis mentioned, there's lots of things that are covered. So it's really, really good, but you do first need that Saskatchewan health card. So to apply for it, I can give you a link for that too. Unless Kelsey, do you have that handy or do you want me to post it? I've got it.
I can grab it.
You got it? Okay. So there's a few things that you need to apply for a health card. First, you have to show them who you are. So you need an identification document. For most people, that is going to be your passport. Then you need to show that you have that you are eligible to be in Canada. That's going to be a copy of your study permit. Okay. Then it's going to ask you for an enrollment verification. Further prove that you're studying in Saskatchewan. And then lastly, you need something that shows where you are living. And that has to show a Saskatchewan address. We recommend a bank statement, credit card statement, phone bill, utility bill, lease agreement. Basically, the rule of thumb here is if it has your name, a Saskatchewan address, and a company logo, it's gonna work. Okay, it's very important that you do this as soon as you are in Canada and in Saskatchewan because it can take over 8 weeks to actually get that true card. Okay, so very, very important that you apply for that as soon as possible so that you can access coverage and you can be reimbursed if you were to be sick or need to access care. All right, so that was a very quick overview. We do go over lots of these things and more during our orientations. So do not stress. Okay, I'm arriving to an Airbnb. Can I apply with this address? So technically, yes. So as long as you have, what I would do is I would actually, how long are you staying at the Airbnb, Jose? If it's for an extended period of time.
Well, I'm arriving December 15, so we're
December
arriving to
15?
yeah,
Okay, and you're gonna stay in the Airbnb.
like to January 1st, and we will be looking for a house to rent.
Yeah, so what I would do is you could actually change your permanent address on your MySAS Polytech account. So it will reflect the Airbnb's address. Okay, and then when you print your enrollment verification, that will show your name, your Saskatchewan address, and a company logo. So that would work. You can change your permanent address on SAS Polytech every 24 hours, so it's not that permanent. So if you are moving around, that's perfectly fine. You just want to make sure that you're updating that address. All right, thanks, Kelsey. You caught that health card one. Okay, my visa is till September 2023 because of deferment. Course is ending. Okay, so visa and permit are two very, very different items. So a visa is the thing that's stamped in your passport, and that allows you to exit and re-enter the country. Okay, that can expire and you can apply for a new one from in Canada. That's not that big of a deal. Your study permit, however, if you were given that initial approval and it gave you a date, when you reapply for, or when you arrive at the point of entry, please show them your new letter of acceptance and indicate to them that your dates have changed. If you do not tell them and remind them that your dates have changed, then you will be issued a study permit for the incorrect dates and then need to pay to extend. So to avoid that, you do need to show them proof. It also would be a good idea to submit your new LOA through a web form before you enter Canada. All right, new message here. Yeah, so there are sometimes student jobs on campus. There is no limit to hours of work when you are working on campus. We don't have a gazillion on-campus jobs. To check what jobs are available, you would actually go to the SAS Polytech website and click on the careers section. And that's where all jobs at SAS Polytech are posted. So anybody in this chat, we do not hire, we do not fire, and we do not post jobs. So that is done fully through our HR department at Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Some people may have also heard about a change in the working hours for off-campus work. There are a few very specific parameters to that. One of the big ones being whether or not you have an approved and valid study permit prior to October 7th. Some of the nuances with that we are going to go over during orientation. You won't need to worry about it now because you aren't working yet. All right.
Hello,
Any
ma'am.
more questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I just arrived in Regina yesterday, and I did immigration over there. So I raised this question. My deferred course of date from January 3rd to December 2023. When I showed to the concerned person at immigration office, they told that after that you have to extend it.
Mhm.
So for that, what is the process? I have to come to college to extend my study permit. They gave date whichever printed on passport, as per passport. They gave me date.
Okay, so first I would then check the expiry date on your passport because they will never issue you a document to remain in the country that extends past the expiry date of your passport. So if you've come to Canada and your passport is going to expire within a year or two, you
No, ma'am.
actually will need to go
Sorry.
through that.
Okay, sorry, ma'am. Not passport expired, study permit expired. The same question which I asked means my study defer I deferred my course.
Yeah.
So the last date is September 2023, but I deferred my intake from January to December.
Mhm.
So they gave me study permit just only to September 2023.
Okay. Yeah, so they were using your old letter of acceptance
Yes.
information because they obviously didn't have the updated one. So I don't know if maybe you or your agent did not update that via web form.
No, ma'am. I
Way,
updated.
Will need to, okay, so either way, they didn't issue it. Unfortunately,
Yes.
that is a
Yes.
CBSA thing sometimes. You
Yes.
will need to apply to extend your study permit, but you cannot do that anytime soon. So you cannot apply to extend your study permit unless you are within 90 days of the expiry date. So even though right now you know it's to the wrong date, you will need to wait until September 2023 to start the process of extending. You just do that online. We can walk you through it and show you how to extend. It's a very easy process, but you can't do it now.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, are there any more questions for me?
I'm getting a fair amount of questions about working, which Emily did go over. But there will be more information about working, about jobs and such on our session on Thursday, though. Again, when it comes to international, it's a little bit tricky. So I don't think Sandra's going to answer a lot of those questions, but one of these is, if there's on-campus opportunities to work, which there rarely are, I will just say, are international students able to work on campus?
Yes, absolutely. International students are, as long as you have the condition on your study permit that you are eligible to work, you can work on campus, you can work off campus. Like Kelsey said, not a ton of jobs on campus. You also have to work on your campus. So if you are studying in Saskatoon, that doesn't mean that you can work on the U of S campus. You must work on the Saskatchewan Polytechnic campus. So that's a very big nuance to that. Again, I wouldn't, how do I word this? So as I mentioned before, you cannot start studying or working, at all until January 3rd. Okay, so this is information that we will cover again in our pre-arrival messaging, as well as in every campus orientation. We will go over this, as well as applying for study permit extensions, how to stay compliant with your study permit, all of those things. If you do arrive early, enjoy your free time, enjoy some of the activities and cool things in your campus cities, travel around a little bit, get settled, but you cannot work. So enjoy the time off, enjoy the mini vacation, but until January 3rd, we don't worry about working.
And I understand, like, trust me, like the way the world works, but like your programs are they're full-time jobs, right? So you might not even want to work. So just as a heads up, especially the programs here, they're great because, it's not 4 years, right? So you get right in there and it's a full-time job. So your time will be quite taken up, to say the least.
Yeah, and I do like to remind, this is a really good, thank you for setting me up on that one, Kelsey. It is really, really important that you all remember, especially like the international students in the group here, you are coming into Canada with a study permit. You are not coming into Canada with a work permit. Those are different items. Even if you have arrived and you are given a co-op work permit, that has very specific rules to that it's only for certain aspects of your program. So your main priority needs to be your studies. If you fail courses or you end up being unsuccessful in your program, it can have major impacts on your eligibility, honestly, to remain in the country. So it's something to be very, very cautious of, and your studies need to be number one.
There is a question here that's not quite specific to this, but it is important. It was directly sent to me. So after the completion of your course, will the Institute provide job placements, or will you have to find your own? So depending on your program, again, it depends. So sometimes you're put into, again, as Emily just mentioned, co-op work placements. So that's something that is through the program that you get help from, it's a program specific to Sask Polytech that helps you work in the field of, whichever program you're in. But in terms of after Sask Polytech, once you graduate, what's really actually great about Sask Polytech is that it's what Amanda knows, because she used to work in recruitment. What's the percentage of people who find work after Sask Polytech after attending? I think it's like a really high percentage, but yeah, it's like
fluctuates between 94 and 90.
Yeah, it's like 94 to 97%. So once you are done with your program, I promise you will find a job. That is what's actually really nice about Sask Polytech and a lot of other polytechnics, is that they work really closely with employers in the field. That's why we have career fairs and all of these things that will be covered in our session on Thursday about career and employment. But I still just wanted to say this right now. I mean, you're already enrolled, you're already here. I know I can't really scare you away, but you are going to find work through you. I promise you, you will not be left to dry. That is, I love going to four-year university. I really, really did. But what is so nice about Sask Polytech, and like I said, Polytechnics in general, is I feel like there is a lot more emphasis on really getting you a job after. Whereas after 4 year, I kind of just had to figure it out, right? So I just wanted to add that just to make us all feel a little bit more comfortable. But
yeah, the other awesome thing with working and whatnot, there are lots of pathways to remain in Canada if you so choose after your studies. We will have information sessions from the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, from the Rural Immigrant Nominee Program, as well as the IRCC. So those people will be coming on campus as well as offering Zoom sessions towards the end of the middle of the semester. So keep an eye out for that. There will also be information on, I know we talked about taxes a little bit earlier. We will give information on how to file your taxes, why you want to file your taxes. Usually it means you're getting money back. So there's all sorts of good things with that. I do want to touch on Jose's question here about needing to go before January 3rd. You do not. You don't need to come on campus for January 3rd. If you want to, you are welcome to, but do know that the campuses are essentially shut down between December 23rd at 3 p.m. and January 2nd to 4:30, I believe. So basically the campus will close for the Christmas holiday and there will not be anybody here. So if you want to come and walk around, you can do that, but just know there won't be any warm bodies here to chat with. So you can book an appointment ahead of time if you want and chat with your international student advisor. But again, you do not have to. We can just see you on the 3rd.
and I know I've said it a million times, it's more just so everyone, if you didn't get your answer I can't speak today, your question answered on Friday, there is a session solely for international. The entire session will be this. So if you think of a question, another one, we get off this call and you go, oh, I meant to ask that. Do not worry, you'll have another opportunity. Okay.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Yes. Thank you, Emily. Okay. See, I'm glad I extended the last semester. I had these for an hour and it was not in my best interest. So I'm glad that we extended this a little bit more to have some wiggle room. So, okay. Does anyone else have any questions? I will send some emails of ours in the chat for those who have other pressing issues or something that comes up later. And we can't wait till Friday to get those questions answered or on the other days, but and the recorded session, yeah, so they will be uploaded to YouTube. I can't promise exactly when, just because our AV department is really busy and there's editing and such involved. So I cannot promise when that will be. But for the time being, Amanda did send the playlist for the orientation series last semester that a lot of questions are answered in that as well. So you can watch those in the meantime. But we will have these posted. Do not worry. Oh, good. I'm glad it's been informative and comforting. I like that. I'm glad. That's the point. We want it, it's hard. It's scary to start at a new school. And especially for those of you who may not even be from Saskatchewan, let alone Canada, it's a lot, right? You're coming into a lot. So that is why we have these sessions, to just make it a little bit easier coming in. But I promise you, even those who didn't come to these sessions, it will be fine. That first day, you get all the information you need. What I do recommend though, if there's anything that you can, if you can only take one thing away here, which I hope there's more than one thing, check your Sask Polytech emails, not your personal emails, not your Gmail, not your Hotmail, not your AOL. If people still use that, your Sask Polytech emails. Okay, that is where everything is being shared to. I'm sure maybe some of you have forwarding where if it goes to your Sask Polytech email, it goes to your personal. Still go check your Sask Polytech email. Okay, I actually beg you. I don't beg much, but I'm going to beg you to do that. Okay. Oh yeah, and Amanda added my Sask Polytech quick reference guide there in the chat. I'll give it a couple of minutes before we end things so that if people see some links that they wanted to go save or click in the chat, you can do that, because once we end this, these links are gone. So we have someone coming in a little bit late, but that's okay. All right. And apart from documents, do you need to carry anything else in your first day of your program? For instance, a laptop? I would say yes. I think it's better to over prepare than under prepare. So bring everything, bring your binder and paper and laptop and everything you can possibly think to bring on your first day. Just do it. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That's what I always say. Is there anything I'm missing, Amanda? That's why I have Amanda here too.
You guys are very thorough. We are very excited to welcome you on campus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are excited. And especially, I can speak especially to Amanda and Emily and myself. If you are on Regina campus, you will hear us. You can't miss us, you will hear us. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, dress appropriate.
Outside of the school world, adjusting to Saskatchewan in winter is dress for success. So, layers, head to toe, warm, and then the winter is fun. There's lots of fun experiences. We'll teach you how to cross.
Yeah.
Moving to help with some of the mental adjustment.
Yeah.
And stress management of all of your school.
Hopefully you can hear her, because we're in the same room, and if she has her thing on, it's crazy. Okay, so I won't keep anyone any longer. If if you're ready to go, you got things to do. If you're going to bed, if you're somewhere else, then please go to bed, get well rested. But otherwise, thank you so much all for coming. There is another session at 3 p.m. Of Saskatchewan time. So that will be on academic success. That'll be like learning services, library, all sorts of stuff. So I really urge you to come to that. And then again, Wednesday, tomorrow, I have 2 sessions that is specifically just kind of navigating the website. And then Thursday, we have a session on healthy minds and bodies. So that will be with counseling, fit and rec, student relations, and so on. And then the final one will be on career and employment services. And then, of course, the international specific session on the 9th, which is on Friday. Okay, and I will send a follow-up email to everyone that was in here. I'm just going to be sending it to whatever email you registered with, which I know for a lot of you is your personal email. Just know this is the one time I'm going to email your personal email. The rest, you need to check your SAS Polytech email, okay? All right, have I missed anything?
Excuse me, ma'am. Am I audible to you?
Hi, yep.
Yeah, hi. Actually, I have a question regarding my finances. So I have deposited my fee, $10,000. So current outstanding balance it is showing me is 2,721. So this fee is for the first semester or for the second semester?
So, okay, so before I don't want to answer this question remotely, getting anything wrong. You will want to email accounts receivable for that one. Kristen did have to go. She had another meeting, but I will send that email in the chat. I think it was AR. I'll find it. And also, by the way, though, I will send that follow-up email I send. I will have everyone's contact information and the necessary links you need to go to so you will have it in your email, but while we're here, I think it's regina.ar@saspolytech.ca. Yeah, that is what you're going to email. I just sent it in the chat. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Jose.
Oh, thank you.
Perfect. Sorry, that's my American coming
Hi.
out.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Fine, great.
Yeah. I registered for business information and communication technology bundle course, postgraduate diploma.
Mhm.
Now, upon graduation, business management by December 2023, is there going to be a certificate to show that I've finished business management, like a graduation ceremony sort of?
Oh, you bet. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh.
We like a diploma certificate and a convocation, like a formal graduation.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's bundle course. It's bundle program.
Yeah. I might read it. I think that's correct, right? Yeah. I wouldn't imagine why not. If you said you're taking like one class for a course. But okay, ask that again to make sure I answer this correctly.
Okay, let me rephrase the question.
Yeah, no, it's not you, it's me.
Okay, now the question is this. I registered for business management information
Right.
technology. It's a bundle program. Now, I'm going to finish the business management in December 2023.
Right.
Yeah, now, upon graduation, that is when I finish business management, will there be a graduation ceremony? Will there be certificates awarded at the end of business management program?
Yes.
And
Yes, sorry, Kelsey, can I jump in? So
Yeah.
even though you're doing a bundle program, you can exit
Yes.
at the end of the 1 year. You are taking 2 separate programs. The benefit of the bundle is that you can do one application, so you only pay $150 instead of $300 at the point of applying to SAS Polytech. And you can be accepted ahead of time into that second program. And then you get your study permit issued to the correct amount of time, so you don't also then need to pay to extend to take a second program. Should you choose to only study one program and 1 year, that's fine. You just withdraw and let us know that you do not want to take that second program. There may be some penalties with tuition deposits. That's a little out of my wheelhouse. I don't know exactly the costs with that. But when you finish any program ever, you will always receive your graduation package, which can then be used to apply for a postgraduate work permit once you've gotten that information. Also, if you want to
Okay.
go to convocation and you want to celebrate your graduation, even if you're coming back the next year, you totally are welcome to do that. In fact, we encourage you to.
please, that's so
Okay,
fun.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. I understood everything you said. Now, my second question is this. Now, once I finish business management, you said something earlier about provincial nomination program. What are the chances of getting provincial nomination after I conclude my business management postgraduate?
So that's a really difficult question to answer, and this may not actually be the best forum to get into some of these nitty-gritty pieces. But very loosely, the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program has some really awesome streams and is one of the, not that I'm biased, but just based on like the information of other provinces, it is one of the best provincial nomination programs for graduating students, as well as some of the other streams that you can access as an international student or just somebody that's currently living in the province. So there's lots and lots of opportunities for that. In terms of the chances, it's very hard to pinpoint that. That's not information that they really have or that we can make available. But there's basically the first step is graduating from a program and getting a job. As Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, all of the categories do require a valid job offer. So your first step, graduating, getting a postgrad work permit, and getting a job. After that, the world is your oyster, and you have lots of opportunities within the province as well as the federal streams as well. So again, we will be offering a little bit more on these topics once you're here and you're studying. We do like to focus on the orientation pieces as their own little chunk. Otherwise, it's just a lot of information to digest.
That's why we're doing it this way, right? So.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, so we are approaching 10:30 Saskatchewan time, so I think we will wrap it up. But once again, I know, again, Matthew's gonna look back at this recording and go, gosh, she says that every single second, but but check your SAS Polytech emails. I will be sending a follow-up email, hopefully within the next 20 or so minutes, that has, again, just a quick little breakdown of, you know, everyone that was in here, the links you can go to, how you can contact them, and so on. So again, if you ever have like further questions and you're just not sure where to start, you can always email student engagement at saspolytech.ca. And even if it's maybe something that we can't answer, we always know who to, direct you to, or who to CC if need be. But for now, I hope to see you at the other sessions. I hope to see you at the afternoon session today. And I know in terms of time difference, maybe that's not super feasible, and that's okay. But thank you all for coming. Thank you for being proactive. This, I was a little bit concerned that in the winter, for the winter intake, we wouldn't have as many people coming just because there's usually just fewer. But I'm very pleasantly surprised by the turnout and the activity here. A lot of people have been asking questions, and that's what we want. That's what we're here for. So, okay, we're gonna answer one more question, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So Jashan Preet says, I have one question. Do we need iSent? What's iSent for the college? I am not sure what that is. I'm gonna say no, because I don't know what it is. But if maybe I'm mishearing you, please let me know. And if that's something that's not being answered now, you can always email student engagement, maybe with a little bit of clarification, because I'm not sure what that is. But okay, well, you are welcome to go. You don't have to stick around if you don't feel like it. And I mean, even if you wanted to, I'm going to be ending the meeting soon anyway. So, oh yes, stay warm. Well, we'll do our best. Those of you who are in hotter climates, enjoy it. And again, not to scare you away. As we were saying before, Saskatchewan's beautiful. I think the winters being so cold make it that much more amazing when the summer, because the summers are beautiful, the spring is beautiful, the fall is beautiful. We have the 4 seasons. It's just that winter's a little brutal, but the rest of the year makes it kind of worth it. Oh, an iSent app. It's to upload info regarding an air ticket. I do not know anything. Emily, have you heard of that?
I have not heard of that. I don't know what that entails. That's certainly not a requirement for us. I also know government's not using Can Arrive anymore either. So I don't know. By immigration officer, do you mean your agent? Sometimes they have like their own stuff, which we do not require that.
I guess if it's something that, like an app that kind of keeps everything in one place, like great. But yeah, I would say requirement, probably not, considering even Emily hasn't heard of it. So
yeah, no, Can Arrive is not required or mandatory anymore.
Okay, so I'm going to say this one more time for those who are asking. Anything involving what money you owe and stuff like that, this really isn't probably the format to ask, but if you're not sure about an outstanding balance, email. Okay, I know I have 2 people who already sent it in the chat earlier who are amazing. That is Jose and Olowomi. So thank you for that. But I will put AR Regina at saskpolytech.ca, right? Accounts receivable. No, Regina.ar. There we go. Okay, Regina.ar at saskpolytech.ca is who you can email for any questions about payment, balances, anything like that, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all so much for being here again. And you know where to find us if you have any more questions, okay? And we can't wait to see you in person. I am excited. Okay, the rest of you folks can go. I can stay back to answer this question. Okay, Hardeep, go ahead. If anyone else, if you want to go, you do not have to stay. If you want to, great. Okay, go ahead and ask, and then that'll probably be our last one. But you haven't been getting many emails from Sask Polytech. Have you been checking your Sask Polytech email, or have you been checking your personal email? Because that will explain.
Actually, it might be that the programs are just finishing up some preparing the current students to go into finals and getting some of the finals to go.
Yeah.
Like that. Might within the next week or 2.
Amanda, you're on mute.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll say. So, okay, well, 2 things. So for one, it says your personal email. That's a big reason why. So the second, since you've been enrolled, you do have a Sask Polytech email. You need to check that. That is why you probably haven't received anything, because it's not your Sask Polytech email. But also, okay, some friends were enrolled in the same course, received some emails, but you didn't receive any. Again, make sure you're checking your Sask Polytech email. But if you're not getting as many emails, I'll kind of reiterate what Amanda was saying. A big reason is because finals are going on right now. Program heads, instructors are still pretty busy with the current semester. So they have not neglected you. So if you haven't gotten a ton of emails yet, do not worry, you will. But again, make sure you are checking that SAS Polytech email, not your personal email. Okay.
If they haven't logged in to their MySAS Polytech account, the login information is in your letter of acceptance. So you have to go to your e-letters and use that. If you have not logged in at this point, that's problematic. So please do that. That's how we send all correspondence.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure why you haven't received certain emails. I just recommend checking your SAS Polytech email. That's kind of the main thing I can say. And if there are some documents, like you said, involving your visa that you're needing to talk about, because I know that's pretty serious stuff, or contact, well, International or Emily directly, which again, I'll put everyone's information in the email that you'll be getting shortly here, which yes, will be going to your personal emails if you registered with that, but don't get used to that. That is this one time I'm doing that, okay? All right, we're gonna go ahead and end it here, okay? But I hope that we see you at 3 and hopefully throughout the week, okay? So Emily, Louie, Amanda, Matthew for recording. Thank you all for being here. Kristen is not here now, but I will extend another thank you to her. And I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up, okay? Goodbye, everyone. Stay warm.